Voila! In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran, cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished. However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vivified, and has vowed to vanquish these venal and virulent vermin, vanguarding vice and vouchsafing the violently vicious and voracious violation of volition. The only verdict is vengeance, a vendetta, held as a votive, not in vain, for the value and veracity of such shall one day vindicate the vigilant and the virtuous. Verily, this vicious swirls of verbiage veers most verbose, so let me simply add that it's my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me V.
Are you like a crazy person?
Good evening, and thank you for watching the Regular Guy Vikings Hour. Thank you for visiting my channel once again. Here we are after the game. I'll be honest with you, I turned it off with a couple of minutes to go after the McCarthy interception to kind of seal the deal. So I assume the final score was, what, 22-6? That was embarrassing. There's really no other way to put it. And, you know, the insecure Vikings fan in me that lives inside of me, that little boy who grew up watching the team, becoming a fan in 1987 and going through all the ups and downs of the last 37, 38 years. Whenever we are in front of a national audience, whether it be Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, the game of the week in the late window, you know, in the playoffs where millions and millions and millions of people are watching, we just have a way, and I'm not saying it happens every time. Obviously, the Vikings have had a lot of success in their franchise's history, but it just feels like anytime you really want them or need them to put their best foot forward, they find a way to look like that. And I really do believe, like I have been pounding the table about this since I've been doing this, because I believe so much in the front office, the ownership, front office, the coaching staff, and now the quarterback that we have in place, and a lot of the good veteran leadership we have on the team. I really do believe that this is a team that can break that curse. And I guess we just need more time, or they need more time, because clearly they did not look like it tonight. I mean, this is all kind of like fresh. It's a whirlwind, so it's like I'm kind of having a hard time remembering all the details, but it's like, what areas were we even good tonight? The coverage units didn't really get that big of a chance to really do anything. Our return units were awful. I mean, for whatever equity Miles Price built up last week, he completely spent it all this week. I mean, his kickoffs weren't even getting to the 25-yard line. You know, nothing on punt returns when the Falcons actually had to punt, which wasn't very often. So nothing doing there. I think the kicker and the punter had pretty good nights. That's ironic. The defense. Here's the thing about the defense. I don't think we have a bad defense. I also don't think we have a great defense. We just have a good defense. And, you know, I love Brian Flores, and I think he's a great coach. I think that his coaching style leaves us exposed quite a bit. And I think that offensive coordinators are starting to figure us out. But even tonight, the offensive coordinator really didn't have to do much. It really wasn't like a stylistic kind of thing or a play calling thing. They just ran the ball right at us, and we couldn't stop it. And Bijan Robinson was clearly the best player on the field tonight. So I just want to make sure that mic's on. So I don't believe in this run defense, and I haven't. Okay? There's not one player, even before Harrison Phillips got sent to the Jets, he couldn't do it either. There's not one player on this defensive line that can take on two blockers and hold their position and hold the point of attack. Okay, there's only one guy on the entire roster who can do that. His name's Taki Taimani, okay? He is the guy you call up for games like this when you need someone to take on two blockers and hold their position at the line of scrimmage to free up other guys to make plays on the ball carrier. Right off the bat, the first two runs, what did Bijan get? Like 60 yards on two runs? It was clear that the Falcons were going to own us in that phase of the game all night. And yeah, I know they got better as the game went on, but then when the Falcons, they either needed to eat clock or they needed to put the finishing touches on the game, they had that run game there, okay? The run defense doesn't have it, okay? And if we're going to face teams like the Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens and teams like that, we're going to get destroyed by those teams. We cannot stop them. So if you want to have any success in the playoffs, if you want to beat teams like Philadelphia or the Rams or the 49ers, I don't know. I think the Bucs run the ball pretty well. You have to be able to stop the run. And I know smart coaches like Shanahan and McVay, they'll just keep pounding it. Prove to us that you can stop it. We can't. Okay, Hargrave, Allen, Redmond, guys like that, they are pass rushers. They are not run defenders, okay? Turner is still a little bit light on the edge. He really isn't very good against the run. Grenard's pretty good in his own right, but they usually run away from him. And, LDR, he's still young. I mean, this is his first year really getting significant snaps, and he's not even really that heavy. I mean, he can play nose, but more in a pass rushing role. Again, there's really no run defenders on this line except for a guy who's on the practice squad who they're not even using. Tonight would have been a night where you use a guy like that. So there's my frustration with the defense right off the bat. But then even getting back to more when it comes to like play calling, how it just feels like Flores sells us out so much by sending so many people to get pressure. These offensive coordinators have learned Flores' style. Okay, they'll just sneak a little running back or tight end or a receiver or something and just kind of like have them sit down 5 to 7 yards deep right there in the middle of the field. So if the quarterback gets that pressure in their face, they can just literally dump that ball off. The guy turns around, there's nobody there, and he can run for another 12 yards. And they're hitting these chunk plays of 15 to 25 yards with no effort whatsoever. It's literally just we send a bunch of pressure, the quarterback dumps it off, the guy grabs it, he runs 20 yards. It's too simplistic. We can't lose this way, okay? I would rather we get beaten by like actual good play calling or great quarterback play than to get beat by just having the ball just run right over us, and then when they need to pick up a crucial third down, they can just dink it or dunk it down to a guy for 5 yards and pick up 12 at will. I don't know what the problem is with the defense. I'm sitting here watching the Atlanta defense. I'm watching the Falcons defense just get all this pressure and just look like they're on top of every single play and just crushing everything. And our guys just look like there's like 8 yards of space between every guy. Simple, simple, simple. I mean, not the whole game. They played well at times, and the defense kept us in the game. I'm not trying to put this on the defense, but I see problems. They're not a dominant defense. Despite what we were told about how they looked in the offseason, they are not. They're a good defense that needs to play from ahead, and the offense is not providing that right now. So let's get to the offense. I couldn't be more pissed off, okay? I get we're going to go through growing pains with McCarthy, and so this is a growing pains game, clearly. It's tough to swallow in the moment, though. I'm not bailing on the guy. I think he's still got the I think he's got the juice. I think he's got the it factor. I think he has the leadership necessary to bounce back from this, the mental, the intestinal fortitude, the guts, all that kind of stuff. I think he's got it, so I'm not worried about that. But one thing that's really starting to become a very big worry for me is, again, I think that Kevin O'Connell has the potential to be one of the best coaches in the NFL, and he's on his way. But he has a lot to learn about, I don't even know how to describe it, just maybe kind of going into a game and understanding your flaws. He has way too much professional hubris. He thinks way too highly of his style, and he thinks that no matter what, his style will always win out, so long as the players execute. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, Kevin, but when your offensive line can't block long enough to give the quarterback time to find the guys on those long developing routes, or your quarterback is still young and is not capable of progressing and reading coverages quickly enough to get the ball out on time. Okay, we're in a very in-between state now with both of those phases. We have injuries on the offensive line. The offensive line is giving up a ton of pressure. The quarterback is still very young, still learning, still holding the ball longer than you need him to. You can't call these long developing plays. You can't. You've got to figure out other ways to get this offense to run efficiently, okay? You know, we lost our ability to run the ball, I think, when we lost Ryan Kelly early in this game. I'm not, Juergens isn't bad per se, but he's no Kelly. That Falcons defense should not have looked that great against us. That was just... I think this was a game. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think when O'Connell came into the game, he probably thought, hey, we can run our stuff. This Falcons defense doesn't look too good. They look pretty average. They got some good up and coming players. But this kind of reminds me of how the Rams defense looked against us last year. But I think at about the first quarter, I think a coach should be able to kind of be like, oh, okay, we got some issues here. Let's try and pound the ball no matter what. Throw a lot of screens. And I know I tweeted a whole bunch. I'm kind of all over the place. In my tweets, I said, you got to let JJ rip it. And I think he is really good when he has a chance to rip it. But I think, more screens, more comebacks and just stuff like that, more crossing slants, that kind of stuff. Short stuff. Let the kid get in a rhythm. You know what I mean? Do some designed rollouts, some designed runs for him. Just stuff like that. Get his blood pumping. Get him sweating a little bit. Just get his mind kind of locked into the game. And it's just too often he was dropping back. Pressure's right in his face. He's holding the ball a tick too long. Boom, he's sacked. Or he's throwing a bad pass. Or trying to run out of it and falling down, whatever the case may be. I need this offensive game plan to get better. Through 8 quarters of football so far this year, 7 of them have looked like not just mediocre or bad, dog shit. And I think that the other quarter was mostly just because Jordan Mason got hot, and then that inevitably led to McCarthy getting a little bit hot, And we got lucky to get out of Chicago with a win, because we could very easily be 0-2 right now. And the team has looked bad. With the expectations coming into the year, this is bad. It's unacceptable. Period. And I'm sure they'll tell you the same thing. Couldn't run the ball. Couldn't throw the ball. Couldn't protect. You're wasting the best receiver in football out there. He had one great catch because they were giving up the middle of the field right before halftime, and then Record nailed the field goal. That's it. I know McCarthy missed Naylor on a big one that could have changed the complexion of the game, but still, even if he hits that, and we do come back and win yet another game we really didn't deserve to win, it looked the way it was supposed to look. The Falcons kicked our asses. So anyway, I don't know what else to say. The coaching sucked. They got out-coached. You shouldn't get out-coached by Raheem Morris. I'm not saying he's bad. I think he's got a great defensive mind. But he's still... he hasn't really proven anything either. He's still inexperienced too. Shouldn't get out-coached by him. Shouldn't get outplayed like that by the Falcons defense. Shouldn't get run over like that. Just all around not good enough. So get your shit together and get ready for Cincinnati. It's going to be Jake Browning. The guy's got moxie. You need a win. If you lose a second game in these first 5, I'm about ready to write you off for the playoffs, because when you hit that 4-game stretch with Philadelphia and the Chargers and Detroit and Baltimore, that's a murderer's row. You're going to lose at least 3, if not all 4 of those games. If you're 3-6 after 9 and you still have games against 2 games against Green Bay, Detroit, Washington, I mean, best of luck. So get your shit together and beat Cincinnati. And man, as always, play vicious, be victorious. Peace. Thanks for watching the Regular Guy Vikings Hour. If you enjoyed this video, please interact with my content, such as liking, subscribing, or even commenting. And when you're done with that, come say hello to me over on my social media platforms. Thanks.